What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Thursday. Happy Thirsty Thursday out there to those who celebrate. Thank you very much for coming along, making this part of your day. Daily Jerome's live stream, 11 a.m.-ish Central Time, Monday through Thursday, talking Vikings, talking free agency. Last one of the week. Of course, we always take Friday off because we're lazy, but thank you very much for coming along. We got some Qs, we got some As. Let's get this thing going. First up, Chase and Gelke with AJ Green going to Arizona. AJ Green, like, if he can get back to his prime just a little bit with Nuke, gross. I think that would be cool to bring Larry Fitzgerald in as a wide receiver 3 on a cheap 1-year deal. I don't know if Larry would do it. I would be for it. I don't know if Larry would be for it. Griffin Creer. Nick Vigil put up some pretty solid stats the last couple of years. I think that's a nice underrated signing. Yeah, he was solid in Cincinnati. He was whatever. Got lost in the mix with the Chargers after they drafted Kenneth Murray. Gave him the time of day. But yeah, I think Vigil, solid, not spectacular. I think that he and Troy Dye could duke it out for that third linebacker spot and play some special teams. Lucas Johns. How does it feel to land all these free agents and look over the Bears signing Dalton and Packers losing Lindsley? I'm okay with that. I'm certainly okay with that. See, the Lions, so they re-signed Aquara. That's really about it, right? Yeah. But yeah, the Bears, Andy Dalton. The Bears fans were all hyped. We're going to get Russell Wilson. Nope. Yoinks. I saw the best meme. It was, it's like have you guys ever ordered anything from Wish? So it's this online shopping site, right? And a lot of the stuff is like really janky knockoff, like Chinese stuff, and it ships from China, and it takes like 3 weeks to ship. And the thing that you ordered comes looking in, and it's nothing like you ordered. That's exactly what happened with Russell Wilson and Andy Dalton. What you ordered versus what you got. Next up, Samson Romain. Jalen Twyman had 40 reps on the bench for his pro day. Could you see us taking him in the third, fourth round? Yes. I think a guy like Twyman, who's a little bit undersized, at like 295, but he's going to have a role right away in sub package where he's going to be a guy third down, 3rd and 9, put him on the field and just get after that 3 tech, have him blow up that B gap. I think a guy like that could have a lot of utility being tripled up with Michael Pierce and Dalvin Thompson and James Lynch. For goodness sake. T. Johnson. Oh, and I know Twyman, just because he went to Pitt, it's going to be like, oh, he's the next Aaron Donald. No, he's not. But he's a damn good player, man. He really is. T. Johnson. Love seeing Patrick join the squad. Now we get to see LSU versus LSU in practice. Yeah, that's going to be great. Like him and Justin Jefferson talk about Death Valley and stuff. It'd be good. Miles. Imagine Kirk Cousins being traded to the Bears next year. They'd have to take on his, $35 million base salary. So they don't have to take on the full $45 million cap it. Luke Zacher, top 5 physical freaks of all time, including people in the upcoming draft. So top 5. So talking about like combine freaks, I guess. We throw Adrian Peterson in there, even though I don't think he did everything at the combine, if I recall right. Vernon Davis is certainly up there. Tight end out of Maryland. Insane. Absolute insane. Tony Mandarich was probably one of the original combine freaks. Ended up being a number 2 overall pick. Was on the sauce. Like, he didn't take steroids. He was steroids. Mike Mamula. So Mike Mamula was one of the first players who started training and really gaming the system. Training specifically for all of the drills that, combine really hasn't changed over the last 40 years. I think the first combine was like 1982, right? In Indianapolis. Funny how things used to be. They picked Indianapolis because it was the middle of the country and the least distance for everyone coming. That's so funny. But yeah, Mike Mamula, I believe, was from Boston College. And then he gamed the combine system, and the Eagles took him really high, like number 7 overall, and he was a bust. He was bad. Other guys, Bo Jackson. That's an easy one. Oh, Vernon Golston. Vernon Golston was just a physical freak coming out of the Ohio State University, and then he was horrible. He was horrible for the Jets. I think he was a number 6 overall pick. But when a defensive player has 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 pressures, they call that a Golston. Yeah, so a lot of Vikings defensive linemen Golstoned it last year. J.J. Watt, sure. RG3, yeah. DP, Penny Sewell. Penny Sewell in this class. Like, whenever the Oregon Pro Day is, like, everyone's going to be like, oh my God. Even though you should have known it's Penny Sewell. DP, who do you hope we sign next after Thielen restructure? Well, as of right now, the Vikings have not signed an offensive lineman. So that is certainly in the offing. Ethan Posich, Trey Turner. No more Gabe Jackson. Austin Blythe, put him in there. Tristan Bailey. Oh, David Andrews? Maybe. I'm going to play college football and leaving this August. Hey, awesome. Have any college life advice for me going forward? Well, since you're going to be playing ball and you're going to be going to class and you want some semblance of a social life, definitely form a schedule. Like, plan out your day, plan out your weeks, when you have to be where, and also put a priority on sleep, because even though you're young, burning the candle at both ends, it's really tough. Plus, getting a good amount of sleep does impact how you're going to practice and therefore potentially get on the field for your team. So, yeah, that's all important. And, make sure you do carve out time for yourself, because, the social part of college is a ton of fun, but not at the detriment of your health, football, and of school. So, yeah, that I think that's relatively good advice. Oh, and save your money. Yeah. In the summer, like, if you're not training or if you're not practicing with the team, find a summer job. You'll find, what's a good summer job? So for football players or any athletes in general, like, I know that it's really tempting to get an on-campus, basically no-show, whatever job. You sit at the pool and you check in IDs and you get like $14 an hour. Now, see if you can find a job on a construction crew, especially if you get a MDOT, or I don't know what state you're in, but like a state-run Department of Transportation job where you're going to make bank, man. Like, you're going to make $17-18 an hour. You'll be out in the sun, so you're getting that vitamin D. You'll be getting physical work in. And also, you will learn the value of a good day's hard work. Save your money. Bring your lunch. Don't go out to lunch every single day. Save your cash, and try to come out of college. I don't know if you're on scholarship or not, but try to come out of college as debt free as possible. Plus, with a chunk of money, really gives you options when you get into the real world and you're talking about taking a job. You don't have to take the first job that's thrown out there because you need the money or because your student loans are coming due in 6 months. Nah. Joe Montgomery. How would you feel about drafting a running back on day 3 to fill the running back 3 spot? Abdullah, blah, 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 blah. Well, I haven't done a ton of work on the running backs because, I thought that Mike Boone might be back, but now we definitely will dig in. I do like Puka Williams from Kansas. I like Jarrett Patterson. I believe he just has pro day at Buffalo. I know he's undersized, but he's really, really interesting. But yeah, we're going to start digging some more running backs here, because after free agency is done, we're going to have to start pivoting back towards more draft stuff. Gavin O, could you still see a Harris re-sign or Neal even though we Patrick Peterson? Yes. So Vikings currently have about 9.2, say set aside about 5 for the draft class. So they can make it work. They can make something work. Joe Montgomery, let's say we sign one offensive lineman day. What do you do at 14? What would Minnesota do? I would just go BPA. If it's one of the 3 receivers or Parsons or Pitts, if it is O-line, if it's edge, probably not cornerback. It's whatever. Yeah, just take whoever is top of your board at 14. Minnesota, probably take a cornerback. Probably take J.C. Horn. I don't know. Mitchell Rauscher. And what now with the 14? In the Minnesota, I'll say Christian Darrisaw. Go get your guy. I love Darrisaw, man. Joey Pesek, can you believe the Bears offered 3 first-round picks, a third, and 2 starts for Russ, and Seattle still declined? I think that's bumpkiss. I think that's the Bears trying to cover their asses. Maybe they did offer that, but it's very convenient that after Seattle said no and walked away from the table, that this comes out. So I think this is the Bears doing damage control. It's like, hey, Bears fans, we offered a lot, and Seattle said no. What do you want from us? So they're just covering up for their own incompetence. Ryan Topper. Some say how Devonta, Waddle, and Parsons all get there at 14. Say some, I don't know. Who do you take? I would go Devontae. Pretty close, though. Brett Vuzelas, do you think we are done in free agency with the Chad Beebe signing or not? So talking about wide receivers, probably for wide receiver. Yeah, unless you bring someone in on the absolute bare bones league minimum. Hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout outs. Cody Sandstrom, Patriots just released Marquise Lee, possible third receiver. What's your thoughts? I mean, dude can't stay healthy. I mean, when he was at USC, he was a bad mother. Even in spurts with Jacksonville, but I mean, Duke can't stay healthy. Plus, you don't really know what you're getting. Was a 2020 opt-out, so that's whatever. Joseph Godfrey. How is the cap looking? Can we afford to bring back Anthony Harris? Because I don't feel like many teams have him on the radar. Vikings have about 9.2 after the Thielen restructure and the Rudy post June 1st designation. I would be fine with bringing back Anthony Harris as long as it's cheap. Like, we're talking $5 million because I mean the safety market really constricted. You look at some of the contracts that got thrown out there. Like John Johnson only got $13 million per. John Johnson, man. I wrote Anapati. How much cap do the Vikings have? 9.2. The Iron. After seeing Slater's 450 times 3 front squat at his pro day, I believe he's got the beef to play inside a guard. Agree or disagree? I disagree. Where if you look at the film now, maybe respect him putting in that work with Duke Manyweather, and he's been working inside a guard, really focusing on building up that anchor. Maybe that entire year off since he was a 2020 opt-out, maybe has developed it. But from his film 2019 and even some in 2018, I don't know. I don't know. Where he does have the ideal size. Well, he's a little bit light, but his measurements, like his height, his length, would be fine on the inside. But he did struggle at times to anchor, even at left tackle. So just kicking him inside, I don't know. But and also, just because he front squatted a lot, I don't think that necessarily translates 1-to-1. Doesn't hurt, that's for sure. So I still have a lot of questions about Slater, and they're not going to get answered. I mean, we're never going to know until a team takes him and potentially kicks him inside. But if the Vikings did take him, I would try him at left tackle. Like I believe in Ezra's ability to kick inside better than Slater, given the information that we know now. Heimo Kugan. Of course, that could change. I mean, if Slater somehow makes it to 14 and he shows up to, if there's OTAs or at training camp this year, and he's staunch, like he's added 20 pounds of good weight to that ass and he's thick down below, yeah, I'm okay with him at guard. Heimo Kugan. Super excited about the defense. Pierce, Tomlinson, Daniil, Harry, Patrick Peterson, Kendricks, blah, blah, blah. Molden, Morig, Cam O'Neal at free safety. Let's go. I do like Elijah Molden. I like that he can play the slot as well. Abzabi, fantasy trade. AJ Green out, Thielen in for the Bengals. Would you like this to be a reality? No. Plus, since they just restructured him, they're not going to trade him and then carry that future $7.5 million dead on the cap. So that also nixes his trade to the Ravens. Sklar's. Thoughts on Trubisky? Ponder for $4.5 million a year as backup? No. Nah. Brett, I will take Chase Daniel at 3 over Trubisky Ponder at 4.5. Brett G. Spielman was at Georgia Pro Day yesterday, perhaps checking out Aziz. Could be Aziz, could be Stokes, could be Tyson Campbell, the 2 cornerbacks, could be Ben Cleveland, could be, what's the name of the other offensive lineman? Could be Herring, the 3 tech. Yeah, it could be a lot of guys with Georgia. Jacob Ward. With the current, could be Trey McKinney, the tight end. With the current roster plus a decent free agent guard and rookie tackle, do you think that'll be enough for a deep playoff run? Yes. So we're talking about, say they get Posich, say they get Darrisaw. I think that's the Super Bowl caliber line. I do. Jacob Inset, Josh Imset. What if the draft and free agency dates were reversed? There'd be a lot less money spent. Yeah. That's why the NFLPA, there had been some talk about flipping the 2 dates, but now the NFLPA would be screaming bloody murder. So yeah, go through free agency after you have your draft class in. Good luck with that. A couple shout outs. Let's see here. Raymond Hogland, Skull from Pennsylvania. Lee Wallen, Provo, Utah. What's going on? Daniel Tuma, Maryland, in the house. KC Wall, Rochester. Lapidary Jewelers, if you want to look good. Let's see what else here. Nurserad G, Toronto, the 6. Joe Montgomery, Blacksburg, Virginia. What's going on? Pulford Skull, Nashville, Tennessee. Hot Chicken. Valhalla, Sierra Vista, Arizona. What's up? Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Mike Benham, Grand Rapids. Let's see. Mad Mobile, Maine? Or you're saying me? That's whatever. There you go. Guys, thanks a lot. Busy week. You guys are the best. Next up. Brett Vuzelas, would you be okay with us signing Melvin Ingram? Possibly. Well, Ingram has always been a tweener. Like, he's been a smaller stand-up outside linebacker. He's been a smallish defensive end. So specifically what the Vikings want to do in defense, I don't think that they're going to change up to a 3-4. Yeah. I mean, where do you put him? At his age, he definitely does have value as a situational pass rusher, sure, but he doesn't add a lot stopping the run. You're not going to have him be, the weak side linebacker. So I think there's better options, like Carlos Dunlap. Will you be streaming the draft? Parts of it. Miles, the Panthers signed Elfline because 2017 Bengals game where Teddy had 1 or 2 snaps under center with Elfline chemistry. Gosh, that's messed up. That's still messed up. Perp. If the Vikings were to go budget D-end, would you rather have Vernon, Melvin Ingram, or Dunlap? Dunlap. Yeah. I think Olivier Vernon is a little bit tough. You remember the contract that he signed with the Giants? Just stupid, ridiculous money. But, yeah, in terms of, like, undersized D-ends, Vernon, Ingram, Dunlap definitely has that size and that ass that can set the edge against the run, as well as still get after it, rushing the passer. I believe he had 5 sacks with Seattle. Noah M., what offensive lineman would you be okay with taking at 14? In what order would you rank those? Skull. Well, all right, so full complete big board, even though Penny Sewell won't be there. I'll go Sewell, Darisaw. This is entire offensive line, not just tackle. So Sewell, Darisaw, Slater, AVT. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. 14 does seem a little rich, but I do like Tevin Jenkins. I do like Cosme. I do like Jalen Mayfield. I obviously love Wyatt Davis and Landon Dickerson. But if the Vikings trade down in the first round, sure, or get into the top of the second round, yes. But 14, just those 4 guys. Ted Schiffen. Would you give up a first-round pick in this upcoming draft? You could find a way to get a high in second. So trade 2022 first to get a top of the second round to get Wyatt Davis or Dickerson. Yes, I would do that. Well, yes, I would. Perp. How'd you grade this offseason so far? I say A- for now, but managed to get Blather posted, give it A+. Pretty much agree with that. And of course, Brzezinski's working that salary cap. He's basically done everything that we suggested, even though they're pretty obvious moves. It doesn't make us Nostradamus, but they're handling their business. David Ruiz. With Odenabo going to the Giants for only $2.5 million, why wasn't he re-signed? Well, since the Vikings gave Weatherly $2.5 to $3 million, their role would have been redundant. Some edge help as well as kicking inside, so it's understandable. Logan Hoffman, you're a cap god. I wouldn't go that far. If we get Hunter to stay, what do you predict our remaining cap space would look like? Worried that Rick might not sign a guard. Well, Vikings could actually structure his extension or revision of his deal where he's got a very minimal 2021 cap hit. So you can convert a lot of it into a big-ass signing bonus, which Daniil will get today, and then that would spread out the cap hit over up to 5 years on that signing bonus. So they could bring him down to like league minimum deal would be like, I don't know, $1 million or $1.1 million. And then, the Vikings could lower it because I believe his cap hit, I forget what it is. I think it's 17. But they can certainly lower it. So, there's lots of ways. But, of course, Daniil would have to accept that deal. Miles, how good is the D-line with Quiddipe at right end versus DJ Wanham? It would be better, although I believe in DJ Wanham. John Anderson TV. So what kind of dirt does Chad BB have on Spielman? He's got the pictures. Connor May, I don't understand. If Kirk takes a pay cut, we have great O-line and probably have a shot at Super Bowl. Like I understand money is key, but pro even $10 million makes a difference, and he can't get trashed on as much. Kirk Cousins has never been about anything except for the money. That's true. Like the way that they finessed Washington, those 2 franchise tags, the way they worked the Vikings, also preyed on their 2020 need for salary cap space and weaseling a 2-year extension out of it. Yeah. Kirk has always been about the money. He's never given a single nickel back. Him and his agent, Mike McCartney, like they're gangsters. They really are. D. Taylor, what do you think plays the biggest part in getting free agents to sign with the Vikings besides money? Front office, location, coaches? Probably stability of the franchise. I don't know if coaches is that big of a draw. I mean, Zimmer, whatever. Location is fine. Cost of living is pretty low, even in the Twin Cities. State taxes are like 8.5%. Well, it's more than that for high income earners. But I mean, overall, weather certainly doesn't help, but also you don't have to live here in the off season. So, Ben Weatherly, how much do you think Posich and Blythe will cost the Vikes, both unsigned as of right now? As of right now, they're still unsigned. I would say 5 to 6 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, if they sign like a cut and paste copy of the Josh Klein 3-year, $50.5 million deal in 2019, yeah, I could see that. T-Rag, what do you think about Tutu Atwell as a mid-round pick? He'd solve our special teams issue and speedster on offense. I love Tutu Atwell because what generally happens is if you have these undersized, smaller, speedy receivers, is that they're like, first sign of contact, whatever. No, Tutu Atwell plays like a friggin' linebacker, man. Like, he really does remind me of like a faster Steve Smith. So even beyond the gopher connection, like Tutu is a tough son of a gun. I really like him. Tristan Bailey, what are some good stonks to invest in right now? So I am like slightly more aggressive than a classic value investor, but yeah, don't go chasing trends. Like I do dabble in crypto, and but if it goes to zero, don't really care. Like there's some people who put their life savings into Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever the other ones, or Dogecoin. No, don't do that. Don't dick around with GameStop. Don't short stocks unless you absolutely are rock solid in your research. Like I've probably only shorted, let's say, like 5 stocks in the last 2 years. The last one is Peloton. That was a pretty easy one after their earnings report. But yeah, the saying of only invest what you know or what you very heavily research, yeah, that definitely holds true. So I generally every month, take a certain percentage of income, and we always invest. And if there isn't a specific individual stock that I like at that time or at that price, I'll just dump it into Berkshire B stocks. So that's pretty rock solid. Other places I go, so I invest in a lot of boring stocks. Like I generally stay away from tech stocks. I don't really mess around with Tesla. Like Walmart, like standbys, like Walmart, that has probably the second best e-commerce website, second to Amazon, plus has the most sophisticated logistics network, over the road network in the country, bar none. Plus, I know that everyone creams in their jeans over Target, except Walmart still has a 5 times market cap than Target. So Walmart, I think, is severely underpriced. They had a low earnings last quarter, so I've been very bullish on them. Casey's General Store. We talked about that. They acquired a competitor. They had a good fiscal quarter. I really like so imagine the research you put in fantasy football. So you find out like who the Bengals wide receiver 5 is. You learn about the offensive coordinator and blah, blah, blah. If it's friendly to this, you can do all that with businesses. So I like the executive board and the CEO of Casey's General Store. So it's good. It's good to bet on horses, but also you got to bet on jockeys too. And you can do that same research. Like you can see like if they have a competent board, if they have a good CEO, CFO, or if they're just out to lunch. You know what I mean? Other ones, Five Below was good. Their price just skyrocketed because they had a really good earnings report. But I think that the niche of value stores, so we're talking about like dollar stores as well as places like Five Below, that's going to be recession proof, for lack of better. Like they're not, but they are to a degree. Where dollar stores, people just need this and that, couple knickknacks, couple things around the house. Dollar stores will always have value. Plus Five Below is a little bit more higher end, and I think that you're starting to see that niche come in. Where, I mean, people associate dollar stores with trashiness, but Five Below is really in that nice area between value. They do have some nice items for cheap. Plus, I think their supply chain logistics are really smart and really stable and well done. And also, so this is a longer term play. And again, do not take any of this as gospel. Like, do your own research. This is just what I'm doing. But I'm taking some longer term plays because of not getting into politics, but with the new administration, oil and gas and natural gas stocks are down. They're really, really down. But everything's a pendulum. Everything swings back and forth. And by 2022 midterm elections, pending what happens with that, I think you could see a recovery. So yeah, this country is not ready to get rid of natural gas anytime soon. Like, in 10 years, we are not going to be all electric cars. We are not going to be all solar and wind power. It's not going to happen just because of logistics, just because of trying to replace existing infrastructure, just because of reliability of the incoming green technologies. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of value in gas, especially since they're down. Phillips 66, they have a really good partnership that we're in now. So basic rule of thumb, invest in what you know or what you've researched the piss out of, plus buy cheap and hang on. That's it. Don't go try and day trade, and don't believe every single Instagram account is like, hey, we just made 100K this year. No, you didn't. Or this week. Yeah, I probably didn't. No, you didn't. So yeah, don't go chasing trends. Don't short unless you're absolutely sure, because your losses on shorts can be limitless. That's what's really bad about it. And just have fun. Actually, no, don't be on that. Don't be stupid. Don't be influenced by what other people claim to have returns. Get rich quick is probably false. That's all. Yeah. Next up, Zach Petty. Who do you think the best offensive lineman would be out of 14? Realistically, Darius Slater. Or I am okay with AVT given what's shaken out with free agency. Perp. Would you rather have Kanan O'Neal, Harris, or Morig? Well, you probably have to invest 14 in Morig, so I would take Keanu O'Neal. I would. Go for, is this a top 5 defensive league right now? Versus the run, yes. We just need that one safety spot, man. Ryan Topper, have you seen how quiet the Ravens are? Do you think losing players will be lost and make them worse? Nah, I mean, the Ravens under Ozzie, under DaCosta, have always been quiet. They get those comp picks, man. Because they lost Juden and Yannick. Those are 2 third-round comp picks right there. And they signed Zeitler, except he was cut, so that doesn't count. Perp. Who'd you rather have, Blythe or Postage? Postage. Postage is younger, plus has more positional flexibility, could play center, guard, and tackle. And Blythe, a little bit undersized. Josh Freed. If the 3 tackles are off the board at 14, however unlikely, who do you think will be there, and who do you pick? Well, if all 5 quarterbacks are gone, if all 3 of the tackles are gone, so that's 8. So it's only 5 more spots. So that means that there's going to be some really talented players available. So I think that means maybe Pitts, maybe one of the 3 wide receivers, maybe Parsons. Probably all the edge rushers are still there. God, so that'd be tempting. In this scenario, either Pay or Parsons or Devontae, somewhere in there. Ezekiel Lockhart, 1. I have the old NFL primetime on ESPN music stuck in my head. Aside from Fox NFL theme, what's yours? The NBA on NBC. That was the best. Number 2. You ever see this video where a guy throws a raccoon off a staircase after it attacks his poodle named Toaster? No. Any edge rushers that will be available in the 2nd or 3rd rounds you like? Because, well, a bunch of fringe first-round guys. So Jason Owe from Penn State, Joseph Asai from Texas, Boogie Basham, of course. Oh, Ronnie Perkins. So if the Vikings get Ronnie Perkins, I have to call him Ron Perkins, so it can be like Parks and Rec. Ron Perkins. Literally a phenomenal edge rusher from Oklahoma. But guys that are probably going to be firmly later in day 2, like Patrick Johnson from Pitt, Quincy Roche, Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith, it's a little bit stiff, but he does seem like that lengthy defensive end that the Vikings do like. And again, not scouting the helmet, scouting the player, but he does remind me, the Vikings did take a UAB tall, lanky edge rusher named Stacey Keeley a couple years ago as a UDFA. So, yeah. Madden, if Denver offered a second Drew Lock for Kirkland's money, nah. Drew Lock is ass. Drew Lock sucks. Jack, how can the Vikings continue to free up cap after PP signing, dealing restructures, and keep up good work. Always love hearing that intro music every morning. Sadly, my girlfriend does not. Hey, maybe change girlfriends. I don't know. Actually, no, don't take that to heart. Never take any advice on this channel to heart. Rowett, I really wish the Vikings would have traded a 4th for Gabe Jackson and 3rd for Rodney Hudson. That'd be great. It's like the Vikings have 6 3rd and 4th round picks. That would have been nice to see. Would have been interesting with the cap, though, since Hudson and Jackson, I believe, were both due total like 20. Andy Shong. Do you think... Do you think the Vikings will focus on O-line now, pour that money into keeping Daniil, or look to draft O-line? Both. All of it together. Purple, the Vikings were to straight up trade 14 for a player. What's a player you would want the Vikings trade for besides Orlando Brown? No one that I can think of who would be on the market. Brett Vuzelis, I think we need to trade for Gabe Jackson, blah, blah, blah. I got traded to Seattle. Adrian Garcia. So Peterson makes all-pro team. He gets $1 million. Yeah. And if he does that, I'll pay him $2 million. I don't care. Ryan Topper, Lee McNeil III. Lee McNeil's a bad mother. I really like him. The pride of North Carolina State. Used to practice every single day against Garrett Bradbury. Maybe that's where he got his confidence from. I don't know. Big Papa Chase, do you think the Vikings have ever approached Kirk to take a pay cut? Likely. Very likely. Next up, Paz Mello. Do you see that Daniil Hunter put back all of his pictures of him in Vikings gear? No, well, whatever. Skull, can you please take a minute to remember that we still have preseason this year? I don't think that's been officially announced. It's likely, but TBD. Ag Zeller. At this point, I think restructuring Thielen and extending Harrison should be done to sign back Reef on the cheap and or extend a deal. I would be okay with Riley Reef dirt cheap. Plus, if he comes back, I don't think he's guaranteed to be starting a left tackle again. Does not matter whatsoever, but what number will Patrick Peterson rock? My Q's 21. I think he takes 21. Yeah, because, see, he wore 7 at LSU. 7's a pretty famous number for LSU DBs, but he's not going to take 27. 37 would look weird. I know that people said he should take 28 so that people could just wear a 28 Peterson jersey, which would be pretty funny. Yeah, I think he'll take 21. Perp, do you think our defense right now could surpass the 2017 defense? Against the run, sure. And if Daniil is back and near 100%, yes. Do you think the Vikings should draft 2 startable linemen this year? And if they aren't going to make another move for agency, would you be okay starting Hill and Udo? Udo, yes. Hill, no. Ben Bauman, did you see the NFL 2020's top 100 players list where Patrick Peterson? Kirk tells that he's the best cornerback in the league right in front of Xavier Rhodes. Yeah, we saw that. That's pretty damn funny. Zach L. Just watched Gabe's 101 with Dennison. Who's Gabe? Oh, on the Vikings channel. All right, so, okay. And Dennison's Kyron Collin, offensive line coach, run game coordinator, who's the passing game coordinator. I don't think they have an official passing game coordinator, but yeah, it's just one of those stupid titles that gives more prestige. Oh, the run game is good, so Dennison must be that. No, so I guess de facto passing game coordinator probably was Clint Kubiak and definitely is now. Bulford Skull, Larry Fitzgerald's a free agent for first time ever, blah, 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 da-da-da. I would offer him the minimum, nothing guaranteed. If he balks at it, nah. T-Rag, who do you think will emerge as number 1 corner next year? I think it's Gladney, but da-da-da. I think it's Dantzler. I think Dantzler might bust out at a Pro Bowl level next year. Ryan Topper, forget Waddle or Devontae Smith. How do you think we take him, jump up, and grab ABT 26? Yes, do it. Oh boy. Taj Liz Yang. Do you think it was best to let Wilson hit free agency instead of cutting Barr? Yes. I think the Vikings got the best of both worlds. They got Barr off the books for the next 2 years, and they freed up some cap space, and I would rather have Barr than Wilson. Yeah. Low no perfection. So are we out on Keanu Neal after Peterson? Not necessarily. Vikings still have some cap to play with, but hopefully it goes towards offensive line. Just trying to keep up with things. Dalvin Tomlinson at TCO, signing things. Spielman's on hand. Everyone's still wearing masks. Cool. Next up. Ryan Topper, after what happened so far, do you think the Vikings will overdraft AVT just to get a guard? Maybe, but I mean, AVT is a really good player. I understand that maybe it might seem like you're leaving some value on the table, but AVT is a bad mother. Like his 2019 tape at left guard, stud. And, if he comes in and is a rock-solid guard for the Vikings for the foreseeable future, who cares? You have 11 more draft picks. Ted Sheehan. Do you think Patrick Peterson moves to safety similar to Charles Woodson career? Probably not. Since they gave him $10 million, I think 8 plus $2 million incentives it's likely to have him start at cornerback, but he did mention a couple weeks ago that he would be down for moving to safety. I don't think that's in the cards unless, something happens early on, like maybe some of the younger cornerbacks step up. Maybe one of the other safeties are like whatever. Chris Hansen, fire Denison, bring back Mike Tice. I would be okay with that. Although it's weird when a former head coach comes back as a position coach. I think it's only happened. Now, we're specifically talking position coach, not coordinator, because Wade Phillips did that with the Broncos. But I think the only example of that is Dave Campo was formerly head coach of the Cowboys, got replaced by Bill Parcells, and then eventually came back as a defensive backs coach, which I think would be funny. Brett G. Zach Fulton was released by Houston. He's a much better pass blocker than run blocker. So Zach Fulton gave up 39 pressures and 11 sacks last year, so that's not good. I would be okay, but it's got to be league minimum. And if he can recapture some of his Kansas City play or early Houston Texans play, sure. But other than that, Vinny Villela. Let's go from Lionel Lakes. What's your favorite Viking of all time? Randy Moss. Yeah. Stan Lamaros, a lot of people are going to point out Patrick Peterson gave up 5 touchdowns last season. It was great. 4 of those were against DK and Lockett. A lot of dudes struggled against them. Just asked Cam Dancer. Plus, he's leaving a primarily zone team to come Minnesota, where Zim should deploy more man this year. It's not necessarily true. So Arizona ran a lot of man, a lot of cover one. And I think the problem with Arizona, because we just started digging into the tape, we're going to do a film room here. But they thought that Patrick Peterson was still Patrick Peterson of like 2016. So a lot of one-on-one versus DK versus Lockett versus other teams' wide receiver ones. No help over the top. So, yeah, they can't do that anymore. And the Vikings play cover 2 about 79% of the time in terms of the games that we charted last year. So, yeah, that could certainly be part and parcel of the young cornerbacks, but I think they will keep that up with the young cornerbacks are still young. Plus, Patrick Peterson is not prime Patrick Peterson anymore. But if they do that, where he's going to help over the top, he doesn't have to follow wide receiver ones. I think he certainly could, get back that love and feeling. Miles, who will be the Vikings' best player in 2021, offense and defense, besides Jefferson and Hunter? Dalvin. Pulford Skull. Dalvin and Kendricks. Pulford Skull. Do you think these moves for Aiden for defense only a direct message to Kirk? Nah. I think it's just in the order of what the market's bearing out. Samson Romaine. What does the starting defense look like now, Andy? I guess left to right, Daniil, Tomlinson, Pierce, Wanham/Weatherly. Left to right for linebacker, strong side, Barr, Mike, Kendricks, Will, either Vigil or Die. Outside corners, Peterson and Dantzler, slot, Gladney, safety, Harrison, other safety, TBD. W. Robbie, will our run defense be the best in the league? Certainly up there. Daniil Hunter is probably the best. Well, him and Cam Jordan, probably the best close-sized left defensive ends in the league. Pierce and Tomlinson will definitely shut things down. A healthy Barr and Eric Kendricks will clean things up in the middle. Sure. John Johnson, maybe the Vikings are not addressing O-line because they're trying to force Kirk's hand to restructure or die Kirk. Well, like he said, if he dies, he dies. That's it. That is all the questions for the day. You guys are the best. Thank you very much for coming along. Remember, this is the last one of the week. We'll be back on Monday. Subscribe. We got content coming out all the time, talking about Vikings free agency, and then pivoting and focusing on the draft. Thanks for coming along.